welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Carrie.
What's up?
All right, guys, we're back. This episode, we're going to talk about Frozen 2. This one, once again, is starring, I was going to say Adele Dazeem.
Like legitimately.
Yeah.
Idina Menzel.
Yeah, right, that's her name.
Yeah. Kristen Bell, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, basically everyone returning to their roles from the first movie. Yeah.
Okay, so give people the premise for Frozen 2 and then your general thoughts on it.
Cool. So it's 3 years after the events of the first movie. Elsa and Anna have been peacefully ruling the kingdom of Arendelle. Nothing terrible has happened in the 3 years since.
Okay.
And basically then one day, Elsa starts to hear this sort of like siren call almost, this like voice like singing to her from the far north and whatnot. And then she decides to sort of like pursue whatever that spirit is and accidentally awakens the elemental spirits of this ancient enchanted forest that she had heard about as a child, and the elements sort of come to Arendelle and wreak some havoc, and so they decide, okay, well, we have to go see what the deal is with these spirits and with this forest and whatnot. And so the forest itself had it plays home to this sort of indigenous tribe of people. They're clearly coded like Native American or Inuit or something like that, called the Northumbra, and they had previously been very peaceful with the people of Arendelle, and then something happened.
Of course.
And then the spirits of the forest got angry, and a lot of people died, it's sort of inferred, and then everyone else was sort of like trapped in the forest. There's this impenetrable mist surrounding it now, so they managed to get through the mist, get into the forest, and start uncovering the mystery as far as like what actually happened between the people of Arendelle and the Northumbra people, and where the source of Elsa's powers
come from.
Where those powers come from.
Okay, so I've never seen the first one, which I know is like blasphemy for a lot of people. I don't have time.
It's fine.
Right.
Like a lot of people are like, oh, Frozen's the best movie that Disney's done in the last decade, and I'm like, that's fucking incorrect, because Zootopia is the best movie.
Yeah, okay,
that's
probably
decade.
Okay, that's probably true.
But like it's fine. It's a fine movie. I have no beef with the original. I do think it's like the most overhyped brand on the planet.
Well, it went nuclear with kids, and I think a lot of it has to do with the songs, right? Like everybody really likes the songs.
Yeah,
from the first one.
And Let It Go is very much like your big showstopper sort of Broadway show. Obviously, Idina Menzel has a lengthy Broadway background, between Rent and Wicked and other things. Boy, I do not like Rent.
Sad.
But it's not a good show. Anyway, so you still have all of these sort of songs here, and there is an Elsa song that they're clearly sort of like,
that's going to be the new like.
Or here's the thing. I think they're trying to push it as the next Let It Go. I don't know that it's going to be the next Let It Go.
But it's hard. I mean, sequels are always hard, movie-wise.
Yeah.
But sequel songs in that way are really difficult, because there's a certain magic that you get the first time.
I think the best songs in Frozen 2, Olaf has a song that's about him sort of like dealing with this chaos around him, and he's just like, this will all make sense when I'm older, and just like trying not to deal with it in the moment. And I'm like, that is some highly relatable millennial content right there.
Right. Okay.
And then Kristoff has a mid-90s power ballad, and it is
all right. I'm already interested.
Animated in like exactly the kind of like music video style that you would want
that's pretty good.
from a mid-90s power ballad. It's hilarious. There's a lot of good sort of like jokes like that, where it's like, that's clearly for the parents. Like,
right.
The kids are not going to understand what those like camera angles and certain lighting mean.
But I think I haven't seen the first one, but I think that's the reason why you see movies. I'm going to show my age, but like that's why you see movies like Shrek and things like that go nuclear as far as in the box office.
Yeah,
because parents are like, oh, okay, this wasn't a miserable experience for me either. I enjoyed it.
And I think Frozen 2 does that layer of humor, of adult humor,
far better than the first.
Far better than the first one did.
Okay. And the first one was a fucking juggernaut. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but the first one was a juggernaut because of like Anna and Elsa, and they're still very much the same way in this. They're two very independent, strong women who, like, Elsa still doesn't have a love interest in this story.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
They don't give her one, and I think that's awesome. She's just like, I got these powers. I want to figure out.
She's a princess of some sort.
Yeah, she's the queen of Arendelle, and you know, she doesn't need a man in her life. She's got fucking ice power. She's a witch.
I mean, I don't know. If I had superpowers, I'd probably just be like, I'm good. Actually.
Yeah. So, just sort of like you have these.
Sub-Zero doesn't have a wife,
right? You have these two sort of journeys of sort of transformative experiences for both of these women, and I think that's really cool the way that they wrote both of them. It's a good movie. I think it's better than the first in a lot of ways.
I was going to ask you, do you think it surpasses the first one?
Yeah, I think it does because like it really eschews a lot of the typical Disney animated tropes far more than even the first one did.
Good. Good.
In so much that like it's kind of an adventure movie. Like it's very much
but the trailer like of her like sort of like running on the ocean and stuff, I was like, this looks really dope. Like it felt more grand action style than I would have assumed for that franchise.
It's definitely more sort of adventure with some action and whatnot, and it's sort of the point of it is the journey, not the destination.
Okay, I like movies. I prefer movies whether animated or not. I prefer that style than the other way.
Yeah, and because of that, there's not necessarily like a villain. Like the first one, there was sort of the twist where you didn't think there was a villain, and then surprise, Prince Hans is here just to like fuck everything up for everybody. Right. But this really doesn't have a villain. This is about two women sort of dealing with sort of coming of age, becoming their own people, and then at the same time learning some hard truths about their family and the history of Arendelle that they have to sort of face head on and choose to handle in their own ways. Okay. So,
all right. So if you had to give a score out of 5,
like 4. Yeah.
4 out of 5. All right. There you go. 4 out of 5 for Frozen 2. John Travolta would be very proud of Idina Menzel for that score. So we will see you guys later for Coming Distractions.
Thanks.
Bye. You're watching the Nerdpocalypse YouTube channel. Make sure you click that button to subscribe and check out our weekly podcast where we talk about movie, TV, news, tech, and weird stories from around the internet.